Hey, I'm Gavin.
And I'm Jonny, and this is Behind the Beach Bars podcast.
We're the founders of the Beach Bars, a group of local bars here on the Sunshine Coast built with purpose and passion.
In this podcast, we're going to take you behind the scenes and tell you about our journey, our people, our partnerships, and how we run and operate this business.
It's for locals, for team, or for anyone who's curious into what goes on behind the scenes of building a business you believe in. This week on Behind the Beach Bars, we're diving into the bigger impact of what we do.
From creating over 100 jobs, to supporting our local suppliers, to giving back to our communities, and to protecting the environment.
It's become far more meaningful than just running bars. Let's take a look at the bigger ripple effect that we're now having. We've been nominated for Sunshine Coast Business of the Year Awards, one of the hospitality businesses shortlisted in that category. And as a part of that process, we obviously had to submit an application for it. That got reviewed. We got finalised out of that. But then the next step was going for the live interview, where we had to basically give a presentation for 10 minutes about the business, why is it exceptional, what do we do, and then have a 10-minute Q&A with a panel of judges. It's been a great process for us to go through because it's so good to be pulled out of your business, taken to that elevator height and sit there and look over the whole thing and explain, where were you, where did you come from, what do you do, why do you do it? And then actually answer the question, why are you exceptional? And in our case, there's a bunch of points which we put on there as to why we are exceptional.
It's definitely a cool process to go through, I think.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And it's intimidating as well, walking into the room and having that panel. It's like you're going on to X Factor, trying to turn the chairs. But it was cool because, like I mentioned earlier, we had, in business, you're constantly like looking ahead, what's next? And this whole process makes you just stop and have a look at where you are and where you've come from. And it's a nice reality check, I guess.
Yeah.
It's almost motivational to just have that moment.
Yeah, for sure. And to answer to that question, why are we exceptional, there was 5 key points, which we basically talked about in our presentation and we've talked about in this podcast. So first of all is basically we're just these incredible locations serving up an incredible offer in terms of the food, the drink, the quality, the experience that people have in an incredible location with sea views and all the amazing things that just are the surface level offering that the beach bars are. The next point was that our dedication to the Sunshine Coast, insofar as we choose all local suppliers for food and drink everywhere we can, local professional suppliers like marketing agencies, podcasting studios where we are now, coupled with the wages, everybody's obviously Sunshine Coast based, it all adds up to that fact that 90% of every dollar that comes into our business and goes out actually just goes straight back out into the Sunshine Coast community. And we're framing that as it's not a $10 beer, it's a $9 investment in the Sunshine Coast. You can look at anything within the business like that. It's literally 90% of whatever you spend is going to go straight back out into the local environment, local economy. The third key point was just about our culture, which comes from the way we lead the team and the way we manage this business based on our values and the way that we hire and train people around those values. Fourth point was the contributions that we actually make to the local community, which are things not done out of guilt to offset, social impact or because we have to or because we have pokies. You need to prove you're spending money in the community to justify your pokies license. It's none of that. We're just a purely hospitality venue and we support local businesses and charities that actually mean something to us. The final point is basically the brand and the vision about what we're actually creating here, with creating something special for the Sunshine Coast, which ultimately is going to outlive you and me and create this. We talk about creating a legacy, creating a business which is about the Sunshine Coast, for the Sunshine Coast, which will outlive both of us in the future. So those were the points as to answering why we're exceptional. It's what we're talking about. But I think the one thing that fills you full of pride, fills me full of pride, is when you actually hone in on the impact that this business now makes on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
Particularly when you look at where it started to where it is now, 15 people to now 100 people, 1 location, now 3 locations. We're obviously a much bigger business, much bigger budget and financials and that kind of stuff. And we can actually pull back out of this process and look at the impact we're making here. How does that make you feel when you looked at that impact slide or that impact list where we talk about the contribution and economic, social, environmental, everything that this business actually does here?
Yeah, you feel damn good. I think it all just started with being a people first business and wanting to retain really good quality hospitality staff that normally come the time they're 25 or 26, they go on to their real job.
Yeah.
And I think the goal was to be able to retain those sort of hospitality heroes that should be staying in the game. And to be able to do that, you need to be able to pay them well enough to stay.
Yeah.
So as we got successful or more successful, we were able to offer those sort of salaries.
Yeah. And it's just honing on that point, it was something that sort of stuck out to me in this process as well, was it's incredible that every senior role, management role, whatever you want to call it, across our entire business, nobody has been hired into that position.
Yeah.
Every single top kind of role, from like head chef to venue manager to shift leaders, everybody has been promoted into that role from somewhere else in the team. So, you know, there's like a dozen people who have a story of like dishy to head chef or barista to cafe manager or whatever it is in terms of that growth journey. But for me, it was even just looking at the whole leadership team and realizing nobody's just been hired as a cafe leader or a head chef or whatever. Everybody's had this process of internally promoted up, which has been, it's awesome when you think about it from a career pathway for people or what we're providing people. Like, that's growth in people. That's what people want themselves. They want a place where they can come in and actually grow as a person, and we're providing that for so many people.
Yeah. And even just giving them the platform where they're heard and they're listened to, and there's actions that come from that. There's a lot of venues that I've worked in that you are just a number. You've got a job to do. You do the job, you leave. Like, there's no real buy-in. Whereas I think a lot of our staff now believe in what we're trying to do, and not only grow as a company, but they want to help with that growth, not only for the company, but for themselves as well.
The headline economic things were 100 plus people, $4.5 million worth of wages, over $3 million in local suppliers. Essentially, there's now $9 million being spent on the Sunshine Coast that's coming out of our business and going back out here. The growth we've had in this business was 39% average over 8 years. It's incredible. That's a business that's more than 10 times where it started over an 8-year journey. That's the economic stuff. Let's flip on to, we'll start with social impacts and then touch on environmental. When you think about social stuff, that's the charities, the sponsorships, the partnerships. You know, those are the things, how did you phrase it? Giving back out of love, not obligation.
Yeah, and you definitely want to be able to build a business that's successful enough where you can be in a position to give back. Like, that's almost step one in the whole thing. And now we're in that position. We're choosing things that resonate with us, that we want to support. We're not just picking names out of a hat. There's a purpose behind everything. And that's why we do local board riders clubs, because surfing's such a huge thing on the Sunshine Coast. Kings Beach Surf Club and Marucci Surf Club we sponsor. Yeah. Because I think nippers should be a part of every Sunny Coast kid growing up. And so it's nice to get behind places like that.
Yeah, and for me, I'm a huge fan of the Sunshine Coast Lightning. I know it's kind of, people are like, why are you so into netball? I help sort of have daughters who play netball, but I'm right into that space now and love it. And it is our only national team. So I love the fact that we can actually play a part in supporting them and getting along to their games for the fun side of it, but being able to actually go into the bars and seeing the coach and the players hanging out in the bars as well. That's always makes me feel so good as well. Yeah.
And it's really nice when partnerships like that work really well, when it's a win-win. Like, you can see your venue getting used more with the guys that you're supporting. They're wanting to support you. Like, it's a really good local reciprocal partnership.
I think for me, one of the things that I love those contribution elements is, we're doing our part to help make the Sunshine Coast a better place, particularly with sunny kids, something that's neither you or I could do what they do.
No.
And what they do is incredible. And so to be able to actually make a financial contribution to them or a venue contribution or whatever it is awesome, because the work they do is incredible.
Yeah.
But I think there's kind of a bit of a deeper purpose behind that, is we're now both with kids growing up here on the coast, going to school, going to nippers, starting these kind of things. And it's like you're doing your part to help make this place a better place, which is ultimately creating that legacy, which is ultimately now the environment our kids are growing up in. Yeah. Same place we grew up in and doing, but now the next generation are there and we're doing our part to help them and make it more enjoyable for them as well. Yeah. Which is really cool. Environmental impacts. This wasn't one that we talked about previously on here, but again, it was part of the awards application process to go through and actually talk about your environmental impacts. And what I think was cool about this part for me was we had never really set out to what is going to be our environmental impact or environmental contribution, but we've been actually pursuing and supporting so many things. And it was one of those moments again in this awards, it was like up full high level and actually put it all together. What have we actually been doing? It was like a bit of a, oh wow, we actually do quite a bit in this space as well, which was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, even choosing Hidden Sea Wines as one of our main wine suppliers, because they pick up 5 plastic bottles from the ocean for every bottle of wine sold, which is, it's a delicious wine, but it's also just a really cool concept to get behind. And SCF, I think, is a really cool one too. So their SCF Australia is, what's it stand for? Sustainable
Clean Futures.
Sustainable.
Sustainable Clean Futures. Oh, you're trying to make the full sentence.
Yeah,
Like,
sustainable fisheries, clean waterways, future generations.
yeah.
So they do these fishing comps around Australia, but they also sort of underline it with a clean up the estuaries and rivers competition as well. So at the end of the fishing comp, they're bringing in the fish, but there's also this huge pile of waste on the shores that they've all helped bring in on the day.
Yeah.
One of the benefits of local sourcing is just reducing the footprint. You're using local suppliers with everything from our fruit and veg to we're not using the major national suppliers for frozen or dry goods or anything. Everything's Sunny Coast based, down to our local flower growers, like with our garnishes of our cakes.
Yeah.
And so she comes in and she even picks up the containers she delivers it in the week after. Like little things like that, which you just don't get from major players. So, but it's as well with the beers too, just getting rid of all the big guys with beers. Like our local breweries are delivering direct to us too. It's not getting shipped in pallets down to Brisbane and then
Distributed out. And
yeah.
Tell me about the Kelly Coastal Cleanup.
The Kelly Coastal Cleanup we organised in conjunction with Kings Beach Surf Club as well. So it was fundraising for their nippers. But it was basically like a miniature Clean Up Australia Day sort of thing that, you know, people would come down, we'd give them the bags, we'd pick up, they'd go off for an hour and pick up everything around the coastline, all the rubbish, and come back. We made a really family fun day of it. We had face painters there and we were giving out the kids free bowls of chips for anyone that came down and picked up bags of rubbish. The parents were getting a glass of wine, Hidden Sea Wines on the day.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just a really cool day. Hot 91 were down there doing a live broadcast with the whole day itself. But that was just a cool event to get a part of, which is like a really small community, Kings Beach, and there was a lot of people that came down to support it. So that was cool.
So like another part of looking at the impact that we have is actually the inclusiveness approach that we've taken with the menu and with the venues.
Yeah.
First of all, talk to me about, you know, what inclusive menu actually looks like to you.
Just having something for everyone. So being willing to design a menu that caters for dietary requirements, I think is a big one. That it kind of starts there. Like, are there enough vegan options? Are there enough vegetarian options? We've always gone down the line of making everything gluten-free, or like 85-90% of it is gluten-free anyway. And we don't charge extra for gluten-free, which I think is a great concept to get behind.
Where's that coming from? Why? Because that's pretty unusual compared to any other venue that I go into. Like, one, it feels like you're an afterthought. If you've got those dietary requirements, it's a real afterthought or pain at most places. And then you pay a fortune for a shitty piece of gluten-free toast.
Yeah. I think a lot of it came with Aidan, one of the chefs I worked with early. He was a celiac. But because we're chefs making everything in-house, it's really simple to make gluten-free versions. And you don't even know it. Like, you won't pick up on it anyway when we make that sort of stuff.
But why is that important to you to do that? Like, you could have disbanded that. Aidan's been gone for many years. You could have disbanded that thought process. What keeps that as a key thing for you?
It's a disease. Like, people are born with this, or sometimes they have a gluten intolerance that develops. And I just think it means something pretty special to be able to design a menu that caters for that. yeah, it's just one of those things. We're building something we're proud of, and that to me slots into that.
Yeah, into that list. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. What about the surge? Explain to me what surge is and why is that important to you?
Surge is a concept that the Sunshine Coast Council got behind last year, and it's anyone with learning difficulties or disabilities can get quite intimidated with new spaces and new venues they're not familiar with. So Surge is something that gives you a 3D walkthrough with the venues, so you can get a bit of a look and feel of the space before you come in there. But it gives you a list of like where the bathrooms are, what type of noises you're going to hear while you're there, what type of music we play. Like it gives you a really good look and feel of the whole experience before they get there.
Yeah,
so
right.
they can be prepared to know what they're walking into. So they have that comfort level feeling of being safe before they come.
So tying this back to from an impact perspective, it's like, I think it's just one of those features of the bar, which is again, great. We look at the impact we make on the coast in terms of environmental and economic contributions and stuff, but it's also the inclusiveness of the bar in terms of the environment and the menu itself, which again helps us to have a bigger impact in terms of more people being able to come to this bar, more variety of people, or I don't know what the right thing is I'm trying to say.
It's a diverse demographic of people can come in and enjoy what we're doing. And I think on top of just the menu alone with the inclusivity of dietary requirements, I think it's a really broad menu as well. So we've sort of like plucked different cuisines that resonate with us that we can put our own stamp on it. We're not pigeonholed into a type of cuisine. Like there's options there for everyone. You know, you can come and get a little bit of Italian, but you could also get tacos, or there's a good variety of everything. I think what I love about this now, where we're at, is we're looking at all the little micro 1%ers on how we can make a difference, how we can build this to be better, to be more proud of the business. And I think we have the time and the team now. Stephen Bartlett says it really well with his business, to sweat the small stuff. And I think that's what we're doing now. We're looking at all these little 1%ers that all make a difference. They add up. And there's a lot of venues not doing what we're doing because they are flying by the seat of their pants, just managing day to day.
Yeah.
But we're now in a position where we can actually improve in all these little areas across the business. And I think it is having that growth mindset as well. Like, we're not done. There's still so much more that we can improve on.
I think that's where, like, that coupled with this awards process we've just gone through, though, is, you know, you're so focused on the 1% improvements we can make here and here and here and here, but going through this awards process, you've been taken to a real high level. And then when you actually sit back and look at, wow, all these 1%ers are adding up to something pretty fucking awesome overall.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, you know, this really is now an incredible place, an incredible brand, an incredible thing we're building, or contributions it's making at a big scale because of all these micro things that we're just doing one thing stacked on top of another thing for many, many years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a really cool process to just stop and reflect and be like, fuck, pretty proud of this place now.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a friend.
And follow us on socials.